Alrighty guys, welcome back. This is episode 6. I got myself, Captain Jack Carlson here, Captain Nick, and of course Captain Travis. We want to thank you guys for following us. We try to give you the best knowledge that we have in a short period of time. And so we thank you for following us and doing all that. But today, I'd like to introduce what we're going to be going over. We're going to be going over some BKK products. They have, to us, the best hook out there. Not only do we use them, for our normal day-to-day use, but we use them on these plugs. A lot of times it's wahoo season coming up right now. These plugs have been neglected since the summer. Your hooks will be rusted on them. So instead of throwing away the whole plug, this right here is going to be like a $30 plug. Instead of throwing away the whole plug and just buying a new one, we have these hooks right here and these right here. So you can replace them with treble hooks if you'd like, or what we like to do is put them on this one right here. This is the BKK, the Lone Diablo. This whole pack right here is only $12.99, and you got 4 hooks in there. So you can outfit 2 lures with them. And then these are straight hooks too, which is what I like when I wahoo fish, because when that wahoo's coming in and he's kicking around, sometimes those treble hooks may find a spot where you don't want them to land up. So anyhow, this is a great hook for that, the Lone Diablo. We have them here at the shop downstairs at Conchs Bait and Tackle, but this is highly recommended. They hold up well. You'll find them on other brands like Nomad uses BKK exclusively. We like these Rapala X wraps, and so after these hooks are used up and or bent or whatever happens, then we take these off and replace them with these. But I would like to introduce Captain Nick here. He's been out fishing this week, so if you want, Nick, tell us what you've been catching.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's been a great week, man. We started off in the bay, got some nice cobia action, got on some Goliaths, and and then we hit the reef. We've been getting on the yellowtails. The wreck bite's been awesome. Muttons, found some nice mahis out there, so it's been a good week.
So let me ask you about these Goliath groupers out there in the Gulf and cobia. So what's a good technique that you've been using for the Goliath groupers?
Yeah, so I like to use, honestly, when I'm out there, I use a lot of knocker rigs. So I'm going to use a circle hook with a 2-ounce weight, and that's probably going to be my most common method. But you can always get a 50 wide and set up a nice blue runner, send that down, and get you a big dog.
Yeah, and that's pretty typical. Bigger bait, bigger fish. A lot of times we do catch these 20, 30, 40-pound Goliaths using the same rig that we would use for our cobias. The big ones will eat it too, but if you really want to target that big one, like what Captain Nick said, grab that 50 wide, put out a big bait. I like to use a 200 to 300 pound leader, and then we use a bank sinker, something with a drop loop that we can take on and off easily. So once that fish comes up and he's thrashing around a little bit, we like taking that weight off, so then no one kind of reaches down to get their picture with the fish and gets hit in the head with the weight. But
right.
And once again, the BKK hooks, and we use them for our Warsaw grouper as well, the ones that we do in Pulley Ridge. And so those we use are the monster BKK hooks, and a good 10-aught to 12-aught is good for the Goliaths out here, to do that. But if you got a big bait, big hook, the ones for the Goliaths we use are the 16-aughts. So if it's a big Goliath, it's same kind of fish, and those hooks set well, stay in, and easy to take out when you have the right tools to take that out of the corner of their mouths, stuff like that. So it's definitely having the right hooks makes life easier.
Yeah. You don't want to go bear hunting with a BB gun, right?
Exactly. How about you, Trav? What's been going on?
Yeah, everything's been fun out in the bay. That's starting to kind of come alive out there. Those Goliaths are fun on any big live hardy live bait. Those Jack Crevalles are fun. You put some of those down. We've been seeing big schools of those out there right now, and you can catch them on like Nick was saying. The knocker rig works great. Beef up the leader 80 to 100 pounds for those ones in the 30 to 50 pound range, and you can get them on any other type of live baits or squid too. But they do really like those Jack Crevalles, and the permit out there in the bay are cool too. We've been seeing those show up with, try to get those on the crabs, and that's always a good time in the bay. You kind of never know what you're going to see out there, so that's what's cool about the bay this time of year is it starts to get fired up pretty good.
So everybody hears about the permit. Now what are you rigging up for that? Like what pound leader, jig head? What are you using?
So the permit in the bay, typically what I'll use is, I'll use kind of lighter rods. I'll use maybe 20-pound braid, do like a bimini twist with it or a spider hitch and just tie maybe say 20-pound fluorocarbon leader to it with like a double uni, something along those lines. And you can either use a smaller hook or just a smaller jig head, yellow or white, just not a real big jig head, just enough that where it'll just sink down real slowly. A lot of times the big schools are kind of moving fast out there, so you want to try to kind of get in front of them a little bit and just throw that bait out to where they're going to swim into it, or throw it to the front of the school there and let it come down. And we were out there with Tucker, both of us were out there the other day and saw a really big school of them, and it was fun hooking into them. But yeah, the crabs are fun with the light jig heads out there.
Yeah, and that's what he's talking about there is like the permit that are swimming around, and you can actually set up on them and throw at them. But otherwise, when you just anchor up and blind cast for them over the wrecks, you want to use like that lighter jig, because if you use something a little bit heavier, then that's when the Goliaths will come in and eat them as well. So, you want to use that lighter stuff to keep it out of the Goliath zone, more in the permit zone. So no matter where you're at, definitely, try to do that to get out of the Goliath zone, when you're targeting permit. So
yeah.
Yeah, no, that sounds like fun. The golf is always a lot of fun. We do have our fish camp coming up next. We have one this weekend, December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We got a full boat, so we're happy with that. It's $18.50 a person. We do have openings in our January camp coming up. It's at the end of January. You get 3 full days of fishing for $18.50 a person. And we do a day offshore, a day on the reef and wrecks, and a day in the Gulf. And I have a junior coming down from Ballyhoop. So he's always coming down doing seminars. So I think, next week we'll be giving away a Ballyhoop. He always has a lot of good products that we use for catching our baits and stuff. Have you used the Ballyhoop at all, Nick?
Definitely. Big fan of the Ballyhoop. Yep, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, it's just nice, you don't have to get your net out and deal with all that. You can throw it out there, get your chum going, and just let them show up, It's nice.
Yeah, and it's definitely better for the baits as well too. So
Yeah,
like say if you're gonna go sail fishing, right, or dropping them down for muttons, you just drop that Ballyhoop down. You can either put weight in it or no weight, and just let it go back with the current, and then you just pull it back behind the Ballyhoop, back towards you, and so then once you got them, you just dump them in your live well, as opposed to throwing the cast net, getting all those scales off and all that stuff. The bait holds up a lot better with the Ballyhoop. So I've been very impressed with that product. Been using it now for a couple of years, more than a couple of years. But he keeps fine tuning them and makes them easier for stowing and all that stuff. So it's that product's come a long way. So how about you, Travis? Do you use the Ballyhoop?
Yeah, the Ballyhoop's cool, man. It's a good way to catch live bait, and they're great out there, like Jack was saying. Those Ballyhoo out for the sailfish have been great out front. They're great baits for, wreck fishing, dropping down for muttons or Goliaths and cobia and all that stuff in the bay too. Everything loves a fresh Ballyhoo, so that's a great way to catch them. And I've been getting a lot of questions too recently about one of the new boats that's in our fleet with the front runners. I know Captain Nick has been running that one, and maybe he can tell us a little bit more about it. And I haven't actually been driving it yet, but been on it or driving it. So, but yeah, it's a cool boat. So.
Yeah, so I was stoked to get. I got a 33, center console front runner, and it's been a blast. I outfitted it with the Twin Mercury 400 V10s, and I just couldn't be happier. The boat's been a dream. I can take it out in any weather, and down here in the Keys we got some pretty good weather, but we're getting into our winter fishery. You get some rougher seas out there for us, and that front runner just eats it. So I've been very pleased, very pleased.
Yeah, it's been a great company to deal with. Those guys have a top-notch boat. I know we spoke about it a couple podcasts ago when we had Cam here. He was doing the test drives on the new 37. Mm-hmm. We did take delivery of another 33-foot front runner with Captain Steve on there. So if you guys got a big group, it's once again, we talked about this before, but you've got a big group and you want to come down and fish and you want to try out those front runners. We got 2 of them now in the fleet. We will be adding 2 more next year. And so it's definitely a good chance to check out the boats and see how they handle, and check it out. Captain Nick, runs that 33. Same thing with Steve. Nick's has a tower, Steve's doesn't. So somebody who wants I want a boat with a tower, then jump on Nick's boat. If you go, hey, I don't want one with a tower, then jump on Steve's boat, So it's two different ways to look at things. And, hey, you get up there, you can see more stuff, or hey, I'm more of a bottom fisherman. I don't need the tower. I can look on the bottom, or I can be downstairs, and I just don't need the tower. Right. But with sailfish season,
yeah, sailfish permit, mahi season too. I mean, I love my tower, but you definitely, with the Fruno electronics these days, you might not need it.
Right.
So
yeah, finding the birds and stuff with that bird radar,
exactly.
Stuff like that Fruno has. It's definitely, and that's it. All our boats are equipped with the Fruno, and that's and Fruno has a lot of good stuff online. So if you do go to YouTube and see Fruno Connections, you will see a lot of stuff that we've done for them or with them, and really all your questions will be answered, by just going to Fruno Connections too. So they took every little bit piece by piece, like every little swipe of the button. What does this do? And then explains it. What does this do? And explains it. So it's very, very informative.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Heck yeah, that's cool. Yeah, those Fruno machines are great, especially if you're bottom fishing or finding the birds. Makes it really easy, for the mahi and everything like that. And with the tides is especially helpful in the bay. I know it's, trying to find that slack tide in the bay. And Fruno's got the tides on there. You can get it dialed in pretty good. And that's what's cool about catching it right at the right time, or even right before the tide switches in the bay. Then you get out there and you can kind of get set up, and when that tide switches, you start seeing everything come to the surface, which is really cool. You'll see permits spike in on the surface. The fins will be out of the water, big schools of them swimming around, and the cobia will start to show up too out there, coming up on the top of the water. Then you can sight cast them, throw jigs at them, or live bait, and it's really cool to see that. But giving your best, you're giving yourself the best chance to see that is catching that at that right slack tide, and that's where Fruno comes in to play with all that. So. Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that fish it, drift it technology.
Right.
That's awesome. Like that was my concept, and then Fruno put it in there. Mm-hmm. So if you got that willy, that wonky, wind against tide, well, that's when it comes into play. You can set the fish it, drift it, and then it tells you where to anchor. Especially out there in the Gulf, when the wind and tide's going the same way or current, then it's actually easy to tell. You just throw up current and drop back the line, and there you are. You're over the wreck. But when it's that wind against tide, when it gets a little more tricky. So,
yeah.
But yeah, the Fruno stuff's been very good, and actually, what's good too is we have the Seymour charts on all our Frunos too. So I know they came out with some new mapping and stuff like that. Can't wait for the Frunos to get that. But they do have chips as well, so you can buy the chips from Seymour, actually even from us. We're going to start carrying them downstairs, and then you can buy that chip and put it like right in your Mercury vessel view, and then it gives you all the charts. I know they came out with a bunch more bottom like that they went over in Key West. So the Seymour chart, that's definitely, or the Seymour bottom mapping is phenomenal. And that's what we use day in and day out. We find new spots just like that, especially in areas like where we haven't been. I know they have this area covered good, so somebody coming out of town, definitely get that chart, and you guys will find a lot of good spots on there. Stuff that we fish, and you go over it and you go, well, that looks good, and then you read it on your Fruno bottom machine and confirm it, and then anchor up, chum heavy, and start catching. So definitely takes a lot of the guesswork out of fishing new areas.
Yeah, those electronics are cool. I know that Starlink was a neat feature too. You were talking, in the Dry Tortuga as well a couple days ago where you were out there, and that seems like a pretty neat feature to have on your boat too.
Absolutely, yeah. The Starlink has been great, so we do these far runs, and it's been a little tweaking here, what I can do, can't do with it, and I learned, okay, well, let's not have the radar on while I'm trying to use that, so there's some sort of interference there with, the radar waves are actually going over the dish that's reading the satellite. So found out, well, you turn off the radar and works 100% better, so that's definitely been a big help. But yeah, we're down there at the Tortugas, and FaceTiming calls, getting on Instagram, being able to answer emails, like while our friends were visiting the fort, so they're all down there jumping on the fort, and I'm still doing some business there, and that's pretty cool. Taking some calls. So yeah, it's definitely good to have.
Heck yeah. Well, that's pretty cool, man. That's Starlink's nice feature, and definitely, you guys, if you do have any questions, please DM us, and you can leave any comments for us. We'll try to get all the questions answered, and if if you want to come fishing with us, just let us know, and feel free to, like and share and subscribe as well, and we'll try to keep bringing you guys some more quality information. Have a good one, guys. Tight lines.